Hi, and welcome back. In this presentation, we are going to be discussing human evolution. Our objectives are to classify humans in terms of kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, list and describe the primate traits, identify the traits that distinguish humans from other hominins, and we'll start with classifying humans. Let's start big. Humans belong to the domain Eukarya. We are definitely made out of eukaryotic cells. We are not bacteria. We belong to the animal kingdom. We are multicellular, mobile, heterotrophic, and our cells do not have cell walls. We are chordates. We have a dorsal hollow nerve cord and also a notochord, postanal tail, and gill slits during development. We are mammals. We have hair and mammary glands. And we are eutherians, characterized by internal gestation with a placenta. Primates are one of the orders of the mammals. The characteristics for the primates are our five-fingered gripping or grasping hand, most with that opposing flexible thumb. Larger and more complex brain relative to body size. Binocular vision, eyes on the front of our face, forward-facing eyes rather than going out to the side, gives us depth perception. A flexible backbone. Our backbone has more flexibility than most of the other mammals. And complex social behavior and well-developed parental care. In our diagram here, showing our primate diversity, you can see we're going to talk a lot about the family Hominidae and work our way to humans over here. So the anthropoids that's the term we use to talk about the monkeys and the apes. I'm going to define the apes on the next slide. It may not be what you're thinking of. And the key trait defining the anthropoids is actually this opposable thumb. So what are apes? Especially, I was raised on movies like Planet of the Apes. But ape is a general term for hominoids, a subgroup of the anthropoids. Hominoids have larger brains relative to body size when you compare them even to the other primates, more mobile shoulder joints, a broader rib cage, and a shorter spine. So that term ape includes groups such as the gibbons, orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, and humans. So when we use the term ape, we are referring to all of these: gibbons, orangutans, gorillas, chimpanzees, humans. Well, let's narrow that down to the hominins. Hominins include humans and species that are more closely related to humans than they are to chimpanzees. So some examples of hominins. Spoiler alert, most of them are extinct now. All the other Homo species, such as Homo ergaster, Homo erectus, Homo habilis. All the Australopithecus species, including Lucy, our fossil Australopithecus afarensis. That fossil visited Seattle. I went to go see it. So exciting. And other genera, such as Paranthropus and Ardipithecus. Basically, of the hominin groups, we're the only living hominins extant living today. Key hominin traits. So this is important. What separates the hominins from the other apes, from the hominoids? One is erect posture. Okay, better sit up straight now. Bipedal locomotion. Behavioral characteristics such as tool use or language. See, it's getting kind of hard to define humans now. When we look at possible scenarios for human evolution, it's really kind of a tricky field. I sat down once and I thought, I'm going to get this all figured out. Well, it's not easy. For one thing, humans, let's find humans, Homo, Homo, Homo. They haven't been around for very long, about, on this chart, 2 million years ago. And the hominins emerged about 5 million years ago. So in evolutionary time and geologic time, in terms of finding fossils, 5 million years ago. 5 million years is just not a long period of time. So some of our ideas today, we've got Australopithecus, kind of a diversity. Our line, Homo sapiens, seems to have descended from Homo heidelbergensis, from Homo ergaster, and possibly from Australopithecus africanus. Expect some of that to change and be modified as new fossils and new work is done, but it's really kind of an exciting field. So one of the traits that we use to establish whether something is a hominin or one of the other apes is bipedalism. When Lucy was found back in the 1970s, she was so exciting because there was clear fossil evidence that she was bipedal. In fact, there was clear fossil evidence that she was bipedal, but still had the relatively a brain size that was a little more similar to the apes than to today's hominins, today's humans. So what were those fossil traits that they were looking at? Well, one was the position of the opening in the skull for the spinal cord. You compare something more chimpanzee-like to a human, that opening is now at the bottom of the skull rather than coming out kind of the end of it. The vertebral column. Notice the relatively straight vertebrae. In humans and hominins, we have kind of an S-curve if you look at someone from the side. And that helps to keep our center of gravity directly over our feet. Wider flattened hips supports the weight of the upper body. The chimpanzee, if you look at the chimpanzee, has a narrower hip compared to this, our wider hip. Our lower limbs are longer compared to the shorter lower limbs of the more chimpanzee model. And our feet have an arch. And an arch acts like a shock absorber for bipedal locomotion. Another trait that is characteristic of hominins, but not necessarily the other apes, although yes, lots of research still going on there, is speech. And speech is a very complex trait. I mean, it involves changes in the mouth and throat musculature. It involves a lot of changes in the brain for making speech, operating those muscles, understanding speech. And we really don't know the whole story. But there's been a lot of work, and an exciting gene that has been identified is the FOXP2 gene that plays a role in speech. So the human form of the FOXP2 gene is approximately 100,000 years old. And what it does is it codes for a transcription factor. It codes for a protein that controls the expression of other genes. And it seems to help coordinate the development of brain areas important for speech. So more exciting research on that. Stay in touch, read up on it. And then let's finish up by finishing our full classification. We talked about how we are the eukarya, we are animals, we are chordates, we are mammals, we are eutherians. Well, we belong to the primate order, and we talked about the traits that are characteristic of the primates. We are hominins, the hominidae. We talked about the hominin traits, particularly bipedal locomotion. We belong to the genus Homo. We are the only extant species of Homo alive today, and we are the species Sapiens. This map here shows what we think was the center of human evolution here in Africa and the radiation of humans out of Africa. So radiation to different areas of Africa, out into Europe, possible repeated migration waves. This is another area of research where there's continually new information coming up, and I've been following the information about possible shall we say, mating interactions between Neanderthals and the early Homo sapiens. So totally exciting fields, something fun to read up on those cold winter days. Let's summarize with our big ideas. Humans are mammals and are in the primate order. Primates evolved about 85 million years ago. Our hominoids much more recently. Understanding human evolution has been very challenging because hominins separated from the other anthropoids only about 5 million years ago. I mean, like blink of the eye in evolutionary and geologic time. And according to fossil and molecular evidence, humans evolved in Africa and dispersed around the world, but lots of new details still coming out on that. Okay, I'll see you in our next lecture, which will be our case study. I think you'll enjoy it. It features lice.